Welcome to the Money Collective podcast. We're here to uplift your financial well-being. Your hosts are me, Mel, Pearce, and Darlene Yu. We are the co-founders of the Money Collective, and together we have over 50 years of finance and banking experience. We provide the tools, information, and guidance to better understand your money and feel confident making money decisions. Hey, Darlene.
Hey, Mel. Back for another episode of Uplifting Your Financial Wellbeing with a TMC.
Yeah, that's it. Cool. Well, I'm very excited to be chatting money again. It's always good to get it all off my chest. It's like we can save up everything that we want to get off our chest about money. We have so many thoughts and feelings about it all the time.
We do. And it's an endless, content of topics we can talk about.
That's right. Yeah, you could just mic us up for weeks and hours on end.
And I'm really loving our new set, so I hope you like it. You're probably listening in the car, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but we're looking good. We are on YouTube as well, so if
you want to see it,
I think too, like you can even look on Spotify, can't you? Like and watch videos. I don't think many people do that. I don't do that.
I don't do that either. But just in case you're on your computer and you're listening,
that's it.
I hope you enjoy.
We have made effort, so not only the set, but hopefully our audio is a little bit better. Yeah. Like I think that we've had some episodes in the past where we're like, oh, what are we doing? We're trying to up the ante, be more professional.
It's our third season, so up in the ante.
That's it. Yeah, but keeping the same format. So we're going to talk about a truth. We're going to talk about a bit of a main topic today. It's going to be gaslighting.
Yeah, and money. Whew.
And then a bit of a question and put in some mortgage broking hints and tips always at the end. So I'm going to throw you out there first.
I'm doing the truth first?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. My truth this week is that I've got a little bit of a surprise, but it's still an unknown. My hubby come home, and I think I might have talked about last time,
he had
not sure about security.
Yeah, job security.
But the business is actually paying bonuses.
Okay. So yeah, last week you were disaster planning.
And the roller coaster of life, and not that because you never. Well, my idea is that you never bank on bonuses because they probably don't occur, and if they do, it's a little windfall. But it has got me thinking around. I don't know how much it is. Firstly, it could be $10. What are we going to do with it? And our philosophies around windfalls, so inheritances, bonuses, tax returns, you should be really deliberate.
Definitely.
And what you're going to do with it. So it's got me thinking, I don't know.
Yeah.
What am I going to do with it?
Be very deliberate. It should not be absorbed into the household budget.
So I don't have an answer of what to do, but I do know I want to be deliberate.
Yes. So it has to, my point is, it has to align to your personal values. And if your personal values, you haven't gone on a holiday for 5 years, then that's great. But otherwise, you need to have those really good conversations. And I think given everything, you should have like these goals already that you're trying to achieve. So how does that money slot into the goals already that you're trying to achieve?
Yeah.
And we need to keep that balance too, because I'm going to just like solve all your problems for you here.
This is great.
Because you and Dennis are both savers. So but I know that you have got a holiday coming up next year as well too. So hang on. Yes, the holiday theme is coming out here.
Mel came back from her holiday, and it's so inspiring because it's such a good reminder. If you have a family value, and when we work a lot, it's a really great time to create awesome memories.
Yes.
And really connect with your kids and your family. So that's what I've taken away, and just that really good reminder, let alone how you refresh and you change perspective. So, as you know, Lily's 13, Logan's 23, and I think it's a chance. So we floated it with them to go to Europe, and they're both super, super keen.
Yep.
So we'll probably go in the middle of next year. So that's a lovely idea for that money, is just to park it in that account somewhere.
Because you did kind of mention that last week too, like what the plan was. How are you going to, where's that, where are you going to pull the money from or whatever.
Well, that's it.
Because that could be one thing.
So I think just putting it...
But we need to have that big holistic perspective of our financial position, isn't it? It's like our asset position, our liability position, our expenses and our debts, whatever's going out.
Yeah.
So, and then line that up to whatever our goals are for life, and what the priorities are, and have that big picture thinking instead of being small and going, we do this right now, but what's that 3, 5 or even longer term picture?
Because the other thing that what happens if you deliberately put that money towards that thing and everybody draws that correlation of where it come from, everybody in the family, or Dennis as well as me, and the kids, we would make those kids aware, our kids aware, that it's actually really good to say, well, if you've got a value of working hard, don't know whether you have, but got a bonus out of that, and that bonus is going towards our spending money.
Yes.
In Europe. And I think because we just put it into our normal bank accounts normally and it gets washed up into everyday living, it gives us a little boost. It makes us feel good about the stuff we do because we can draw the correlation of something that we love and we value.
Yeah.
So I think it's actually really good for our well-being, but our mental health. Yeah. If you do something deliberate with it and you can say, oh yeah, I did that with that thing. Yeah, that piece of money. So, and that for me relates to inherited, any windfall. Just get really deliberate and you'll appreciate them much more.
And the other thing is like the conversation, talking and discussing this with your partner, because like some people like, well, that's my bonus, I'm buying a new car, or they make a decision based on, because they're the income earner of that and making those decisions. I don't think that ever really washes well or leaves a good taste in the mouth for the other person.
Well, that's really fascinating because Dennis never buys himself clothes. Never. Right? And he hasn't got the little cash bonus yet, whatever that might be. And he went out, I was away for the weekend on a girls' weekend, and he went out on his own and bought 2 pairs of his favourite jeans.
Ooh, 2?
$179
Wow,
each.
that'll last a good 5 to 10
And he was really pleased because he saved $79. I always said they were on sale.
It's exciting.
So... But I reckon he might not draw that link, but I reckon it's related.
It's given him permission to do something for himself.
So really, think about your behaviours.
But it's funny how we think about money then, isn't it? Like our self-worth and our, is really linked to what we're paid.
Yep.
And the money that we have.
Yep, definitely. So he just went off and did it on his own.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's so interesting.
Yeah.
Actually. So my thing is a little bit about that self-worth as well. And mine's very subtle because I've been talking, both me and Percy, my partner, are both self-employed and we run our own businesses. And I think over the last 5 years that he has thought that I've got this little business and it just kind of makes ends meet type of thing. And it's like... I think he wants it to do well. Like he's definitely behind us to go, this could be something good, like in the possibility that it's, does amazing things and earns heaps of money. And I think the way that I've been talking about our business lately and particularly this week, he's like looking at me differently. Like, and I'm like, he hasn't said anything. So this is why I'm saying it's so subtle. But it's like, I really get that feeling that he thinks that I've got a good business and it's worth something. Like I'm playing almost in the man's world now. Like I'm playing with the big boys. Like he can see there's a difference, there's a shift or something. And I'm like...
I think that's right. But
interesting.
I think that comes from because you're behaving differently. And whatever we do, the language we speak... how we talk about it.
And what we're saying too.
Yes.
And what's he's picking up on between the lines as well to go, this is something. This is, okay. Paying attention. Yeah. And he this morning when he woke up, he's like, I had a dream last night that your business is worth like heaps of money. And then you said no, like he's dreaming about my business now. And I'm like, okay, maybe it's not so subtle. He is saying words. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And then it's funny what it does to me too, because I've always had the self-belief in this business too. But we are operating a little bit differently, having different conversations and do I want that too? Like, this is linked to my self-worth and like the validity of like all the hard work that I do all the time.
Yes.
And that is intrinsically linked to money as well. Like, how much are we earning? What are we doing? How are we making our decisions?
Yeah, that's right.
And what somebody's perception is of running a business. Like, because we've made hard decisions like the last few weeks too. And like, I don't know, for some reason that makes a difference too.
All of it, right? What you put out there, I think, is what you get back. And the clarity, the clarity and the belief. And we've really worked on the roadmap. And I mean specifically, really specific on how we're going to achieve what we need to achieve. And so once you've got that roadmap, it's clearer. So you're going to talk about it in a clearer way. So then
I wonder what that does. That does doing that in my own house, but what does that do to all of our other stakeholders as well, maybe?
Totally.
Let's keep going, darling.
Let's keep going. That's right.
Yeah, like at what your own self-belief does within yourself and how that has a rippling effect around you.
I reckon that is probably our biggest brand selling point. Yeah. Because, the self-belief, that aura around you, people believe it too,
Yeah. And I think just the other thing in business, and I'm just going to say it out loud and make it public, is just because you can make business decisions and be a business person. And then I've always been in conflict with my own humanity around that, because there's also humans and real lives involved, and striking that balance. And I think sometimes, to be honest, we don't get that balance really, because we could maybe be too sympathetic and, you know what I mean? And I struggle with that internally, that conflict, and living in this capitalist world of like, what are we building? What are we doing it for?
Yeah.
And what does success mean? All of those reasons.
And why do we want it?
And we can say we want to do it because we want to change people's lives, because we really do.
Want to make an impact, for sure.
But to actually get to that level, you have to have your own level of ego as well. Like to go, I am going to do this. I'm going to lead it. And
it is. And it is. I think it's that continual seesaw, because...
To level up. To
level
as a
up,
person.
Not be cold when you're running a business. You've got to be really warm and inclusive, because, we're aligned to our values, so we want to live that way. But then, but what it is, it's not also our job to do that for others. And I think sometimes when you're a business leader, you feel really responsible for your people. And I think responsibility is actually not what you should have.
No.
I think...
Yep. I think that's a key lesson that I've been learning.
Yeah. You don't... and think about it, if you reverse it and think about us. I don't want anyone to feel responsible for me.
Yeah.
I'm responsible for me. I don't need anybody to feel responsible for me.
And you can still walk through life with empathy and kindness at the same time.
Absolutely. And sometimes people need support.
Yeah.
But I think shifting that mind belief that you're not responsible for others.
Well, thank you. I said, this is very great.
That's great. Let's see how it all goes. We'll keep you up to date and updated with our with
life
our
philosophy. Anyway, so today the key component of what we want to talk about on our podcast is gaslighting. We want to, and I know we've talked about this in different ways and different formats, but it just keeps cropping up, doesn't it?
It really, really does. Yeah, gaslighting and money.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. There's so many stories, case studies that come to mind, but I just want to start with a very common thing that we see through coaching and working with couples. And I say this particularly to first home buyers, if we're working with them, is that always keep an equal seat at the table, because subtly over time what we see is that one partner has lost their self-esteem when it comes to themselves, which is their whole life, but it's sort of linked to how money's played out. So if you stayed home and looked after your children and you haven't been bringing the money into the household, then you might have outsourced the decision making of that. But I also think the gaslighting component of it is that, the other partner actually starts gaslighting, not realising that they are actually, saying you're not good enough with money or you spend too much. The most common one is that you spend too much. You spend too much on discretionary spending.
Yep.
And, you need to stop that. You need to reduce it, you need to reduce it, you need to reduce it. So that person gradually believes that that's what they're doing. Where if you look at the numbers, when we go back, because we do the work, look at your past numbers, it's more common than not. It's not what the belief is. That the money is actually being spent by the other partner.
And most commonly this is men gaslighting women, to be honest. And this is not to say in any way, shape or form that women don't gaslight, because they certainly do.
Yes.
But in most, what we see mostly is that women might be working part-time or be having the majority of the caregiving duties and are doing most of the household spending. So they're buying all the essential stuff for the household, and then that's being construed as spending. That's not discretionary spending. And then what we hear is when those women come in and talk to us, or they might be even coming with their partner, and they're even saying, "Oh, I'm so bad," or "She spends so much money. I've got to spend. I'm the problem. I don't know how to manage money." I'm like, she's managing the shit out of your money. She's made sure that you've had food on the table for the last 20 years of your life.
And is buying all the kids.
And look, all those kids have clothes and shoes and going to their sporting events. That is not discretionary spending. And often because of that, the fear or the self-doubt and the guilt and the shame that the woman in this scenario that I'm saying is feeling, they actually don't do a lot of the discretionary spending because they've got so much fear around it. And then what happens is we dig into those freaking numbers, and guess who the spending's coming from?
It's not reality.
It's not reality. And often the person who is the gaslighter is the big spender and might be doing the big purchases or doing that other stuff because he's just... I'm so being sexist here in this this podcast.
It is majority male. And I think that comes from, in the majority, women become the primary caregiver. So they're bringing less into the household.
And also, we're also talking generationally too. I'm in my 40s, you're in your 50s, and we're talking about this time in our life. And because the way people of our age were raised is men were meant to be strong and powerful and, be the provider. And we know that we're living in 2024 and we're trying to shake that. And I can see our younger generations are doing an awesome job and learning from our experiences. But it means that we are still living with the fallout of the beliefs that we were all raised with. And the gaslighting from the men I hate being so sexist anyway, but in this case, it's coming from that place where they need to seem in control and powerful. So if they're looking at the numbers and they're putting, or if they can't justify something, they're putting it back onto the other person, because it's more of a woman's place to be less powerful, to be softer, to be more caring. And we kind of do this role playing, which is insidious. And what it does is it erodes the person who's being gaslit, their self-confidence, their self-belief, and they start believing the narrative that's been told to them. That's right.
I see it all the time where women believe they're the spender, until you look at the facts.
Yeah.
All the time. And they absolutely believe they are, and that they need to rein it in. That's always the first thing.
Oh, we're not getting anywhere because she's spending all the money.
Yeah. So I would really, for anyone listening out there, go back and look at the numbers and challenge the reality.
Yeah, because I think it's the numbers and actually having the information at hand that changes the dial, where you can actually look at reality. Because I can even relate to this. Before I knew how to manage my money, I would have thought that because I'm the one daily out buying things.
I agree. This relates to my money story. So when I was growing up as a child, and we were a middle class family, my mum would go and buy us. Say I can remember a school jumper vividly. I needed a new school jumper. She bought a school jumper, but I had to hide that for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Before I brought that out.
Yeah.
It's an exact example of what you're saying. But my dad valued new cars. So we would have a brand new car every second year. That's what we did.
Yeah.
But mum was the spender.
Yeah.
Was deemed as the spender.
And how did you see that play out for your mum?
Oh, definitely that self-belief around money. It was definitely not there. That marriage didn't work out. So if you want to know how it really worked out, I was about 16 when they split, and then my mum, she was a worker. Yeah, my mum, just got on with it.
So this is what causes like divides in relationships. It starts breaking down the trust between two people because your reality is distorted, and you're trying to adopt somebody else's reality, and which isn't even true. And then over time and over years, like the self-confidence of the person who's being gaslit becomes so low, like their ability to even get back into the workforce. And then the other person is like maybe just still climbing that corporate ladder, ends up with all the superannuation. The person feels so much shame when they, and that the fight is too hard when they actually go to divorce, that they don't fight for what's rightfully theirs because they haven't earned the money. Definitely. They've spent all the money.
And because they feel like they don't have the skills and they've got this low self-esteem, we've talked about this in the past, you take the dregs of work. Just whatever you can get. The slops, I've called it before.
That's what we call it.
You take the slops because you feel like you don't have the skills and belief that you can do anything else. And part of it's because of the gaslighting that's diminished your self-esteem over that period of time.
Yeah.
And that just continues to play out. So if you look at, you both get to 65, who's got what?
If in a divorced situation, like if you've separated, maybe at 40, and then by the time you get to that stage, because one person's going to end up with a whole lot less because they haven't had the big job, the money earning, they haven't got the superannuation, they don't have a great job.
Yeah, and they were probably
and they've cared for the kids the whole way.
So self-esteem has diminished, and so that belief. Even after the divorce of what you do.
That is why women in their 50s are the most at risk of being homeless.
That's exactly right.
In Australia.
Because they've stayed home, they've been the primary caregiver, they've possibly lost all their self-esteem, the marriage breaks down, and then they don't have enough in reserve to buy a house.
Yep. So they
don't have the skills they feel to get decent paid work to pay the bills.
Yep, it's just this massive compounding effect. Yeah. So compounding and money is huge, and that's the thing. Like going back to what you were saying about getting a bonus and the compounding effect. If you put that into something that's going to grow an asset or pay down debt, the compounding effect of everything that we do is huge.
And on the reverse of it, gaslighting has a compounding impact
on your self-esteem,
and your belief system.
Yeah.
So. And I think most people just aren't even aware of it. It's not...
Especially when you're inside of the relationship.
Yeah.
Because when you're in it, you can't separate from it.
You can't see it. It just happens over time. So, just critically think. I put it out to everybody. Critically think about what conversations and relationship and how it actually is.
Yeah.
And then check reality.
And it's really important too, because if you've been caught out by this or are inside this at the moment and you've got children, because people around our age have got kids who are growing up in their teenage, whatever age they are, like let's make sure our kids aren't doing this. And if you're a gaslighter or somebody who's listening to this and going, gee, I think I'm doing some of that, that's great. Let's keep that awareness happening. And you probably are not a massive asshole, really, if you can understand, or if you've got the acknowledgement. I think we all have elements of like, it's deflecting, it's like that where we don't want to take the blame and we go, oh, that's all your fault. Like, hang on, what have you been doing? And then you leave the other person questioning the whole situation.
Exactly. And just to bring this so other examples that people might relate to, if you're in a relationship and you're working less hours or you're not working and your partner's working, what are those conversations when it comes to money? 100%. Are you equal, or is it viewed you're not doing much during the day? I mean, this is a common one, right?
It is all the time.
So if I do anything for yourself, then that's viewed as, oh, you've got an easy life and I'm working super hard.
Yeah.
And again, just be more aware of that and come to the table with the money conversation, because there's a belief that you're then wasting money.
That's right.
You've got more time, you're wasting money, and you're doing...
Or you're not contributing your fair share to the family. And and often we hear that the person is contributing more than the other person to the actual relationship and feels like crap. And you can't see it when this is all happening, but that is complete manipulation of the reality of what is.
Yeah, definitely.
To make somebody, it's just somebody preserving their own ego and manipulating the other person.
It really is. Think about your bank accounts. It's not all. We definitely advocate for visibility across all the money that's coming in the household.
That's
and where
right.
It's going, and joint,
separate bank accounts cause a problem. And like you pay for this with your income and I'll pay for this with my income never works in my experience.
No.
Because so much happens in life, and what happens if you can't maintain that anymore? We need to put it all in the one bucket, and we all need to pay for what life
that's right
requires.
And own it and review it and review your numbers and where's it being sent, and get reality rather than an assumption or a belief of where the money's going. Yeah. Because that's where the distortion comes.
The truth is in the numbers, not in the talk.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Yeah, look at the facts and, an open communication with your partner to really come to that correlation. But can I say, it doesn't happen instantaneously. It just doesn't. So, I've coached people where you actually have looked at the numbers and there's still a view because of the money story that number still hasn't is caused by the spending of basic things. So somebody comes to mind and they're, spending, it's not even that exorbitant, might be $3,000 a month on groceries. I think it's around that number. And there's a clear view from the male person that that's too much. But if you actually look at where all the money's going, it's really focused on one line.
One line,
rather than
the whole big picture.
All the lines and where it's going, and why it's going to where.
Because we form a picture in our mind about what our problem is with spending, and then we latch onto that too. Yeah. But we need to really look at where all of the money is going.
And challenge the rest of it. Yes. We do have to eat after all,
It's pretty primary. And the other problem is like going 50-50 on things. Oh, yes. Like you pay your fair share and I'll pay this fair share. Like that's not fair.
No.
Usually in any sense.
No.
And I know that we do talk about like keeping an element of independence too is also important, like financially. But the most important thing is that keeping the seat at the table.
Seat at the table. Know your numbers. Have
know your self-worth.
Conversations. Yes. You know this stuff. Don't let a piece of you, feel lower because of that gaslighting that might be coming. Just be more aware of it and come back to the table, know your numbers, and, have good conversation.
And the other thing is what you were saying, I think you were going down the track of this takes time. Like you might pull it out and you go, this is the problem. And then you might realize, hang on, when we look at the big picture, it's more than that. But still you keep coming back to that one line, keep coming back to it. Because the problem isn't the spending behaviors, it's the psychology. And we all know that our mental health you can't flick a switch and change the way that we think. You can't flick a switch and change our beliefs. Like you believe that spending and that spending line to be a problem for so many reasons, and that's ingrained for you to have developed and formed that belief. You can't flick the light switch on. Sometimes you can, and you go, but it depends on how deep or what's going on.
It's the reason behind it. So I would suggest, like if that is happening as well, you really need to visit your money stories, and both parties, go down the money story route and try and understand
what you believe to be true about money
and why that correlation with that line might be.
And it also comes back to our ego, because we don't want to let go of our belief pattern because it will destroy part of us.
Or we feel lesser,
that's right.
I mean, I also see, guys in a relationship, again, we are really gender-based, but they feel the burden that they've got to do the earning to keep up the lifestyle of the family. And so I think that also causes gaslighting. Because it's just, a mechanism of
survival.
Yeah, well, and a coping mechanism to
keep
push
pushing
my
through.
anger out
Yep.
because I'm doing all this, and we do that to the ones we love the most, right? So
We do.
Yeah. So really, if you're one of those people, really be aware of it. It might just be just your way of getting rid of your frustration versus obviously being really helpful.
So once you have the awareness that that you're experiencing elements of any of this, that's the first obvious thing. That awareness is the most critical part.
Yes.
And then it's not going to just change overnight, and you're not going to just flick the switch for your partner.
Yep.
And it's a work in progress.
Yes. So one thing I'll leave you with, if any of this has resonated with you, go back, open up your bank statements, and actually go through the past 3, hopefully 12 months if you can, got the time and effort to do that, and actually look at reality, and then have a really good chat with your partner in a constructive, way. Start the conversation off the back of the facts.
That's it. And stand up for yourself.
Yes. Yes.
Don't believe all the gaslighting.
And then go to, the second thing after that would be to really understand money stories. Yeah. Good luck.
Very good. Okay. So we want to leave you with a question today, and we want to talk again. We want to bring it back to home loans and mortgages because most of our listeners have home loans, and it's like the biggest, most expensive cost we have. But also, if we know how they operate a bit better, then we can get better gains and save shitloads of time and money off our
especially
mortgage.
over time with a compounding impact.
Oh my God. So we want to talk to you about offset accounts and how great they can be. I want to start off saying that people think that they might not need an offset account, and you might not need an offset account if you don't have any extra money to put in one, right? Might not need one. But if you've got spare cash flow...
Even if you don't. If you've got a bank with multiple offset accounts and you've got a bit of a bucket system going,
this is good.
Even if your pay's coming in and you get paid monthly and it's sitting there for a week or two, that week or two compound impact of reduction in interest over, you imagine, 30 years can be a lot.
But what I was going to say too is people think that they don't necessarily need an offset account because the perception is that it costs money to have an offset account. Why would I pay the fees if I don't have money to put in an offset account?
This is true.
So people choose a basic home loan, no offset account, so they don't have the fees, maybe a lower interest rate. But there's some great products out there. There's some banks who don't even load up the interest rate or have a really small fee for offset accounts. It's about knowing what's available, definitely talking to a great mortgage broker like us.
Yes. Well, it's actually then also, I would say, doing the numbers, because even if it's got a package fee, and a lot of them do, they might load the interest rate, say, by 0.1, and this is very general because Mel's right, there's so many options out there. Up to 0.1, or they might have the same interest rate, but they might have an annual package fee like $395. So,
less.
Yes, that's true. So even if it is that product, and you think, well, that product's really going to suit me, but I really don't love those fees, but that's when understanding the compounding impact and the reality of your own situation and how much money is likely to be in there, and actually work through what that interest saving is over a long period of time, because maybe it's worth paying you $395.
Absolutely.
Because you're going to save $100,000.
Yeah, over the term of your loan. And $100,000 is probably worth about 5 years of your loan. And if you can end your loan 5 years earlier... Imagine your life then not making mortgage repayments.
Well, you actually get a double whammy hit because you've got no home loan repayment, and that you can actually then do something extra with all that money.
Yes.
That's going to create more return.
That's right.
So the sooner you pay your home loan, off, the more money you'll have to do.
And I think people get really disillusioned about the ability to pay off a home loan nowadays because our home loans are so big, and it feels like that will never happen, or in 30 years I'm going to be 80 or whatever it is, whatever those feelings are that you've got. But when you know your numbers and you know how to work a home loan calculator, and what offset benefit means and how much money you'll save, because this is the operating from the knowing and the unknowing, not having the information. If you don't know, you're going to have your own judgments. I don't even need offset accounts. I don't have money. That's a belief. I'll never pay off my home loan. That's a belief. Why bother? That's
right. Oh, that fee's just not worth it because I don't have any money right now.
But if you plug the numbers in and look at it and absorb that information for a couple of minutes, or talk to somebody who can help you do that.
That's it.
My God. And you realize, well, if I put away $50 a week or $500 a month or whatever it is that you can afford in your budget because you know your numbers, what impact that's going to have
is massive. It's huge. Time.
And what is going to give you the drive to do that is having goals in your life and knowing what you want and how you want to live your life, and knowing the compound benefits.
Impact. So just going back to the compounding, a repayment calculator should be one of your best friends if you have a mortgage. So on our website, there is a repayment calculator.
On the resources page.
Get to know it and how it works inside out. And if you don't know, give us a call and we'll take you through how to use it. There's something called an amortization table, and basically what that is if you're paying a repayment of $4,000 a month, it will let you know as the months go on how much of that repayment is going towards interest and how much is going towards principal. And if I pay those minimum repayments and nothing changed, what my balance would be at any particular time. So any extra I do, you keep paying that, and your balance is coming down lower and lower, and your interest on that, you're paying less interest. So again, you get a double hit.
That's it.
So understand,
because you pay interest based on the amount that you owe on your loan. So if you pay a lump sum off or pay extra off your loan, every time you make that $4,000 payment, you pay less interest to the bank and more principal down on the loan. The principal is what you owe.
That's it.
And that's what we want to smash down. So once we understand that principle of how my loan works, if I do this, then this happens.
Yeah.
Instead of going, this is a bit complex and hard, I don't understand, I'm done with money.
Yeah.
If there's one thing that you should learn, it's how your home loan works.
Exactly. Work out how your home loan works, and work with a great repayment calculator that's got an amortization schedule.
Like ours.
Exactly. So I know that's a bit of information, but yes, offset accounts can be really helpful, and understand, your number always, and then what you can do with your repayments and how much you'll really save and predict over time. It'll spur you on.
That's it.
To really work with your money to pay the home loan off sooner.
So good luck. Thank you for listening, everybody.
Thanks. See you next time.
Catch you next time.
At The Money Collective, we provide financial wellbeing, premium coaching, mortgage broking and workplace financial wellbeing programs, which we couldn't do without the seamless support of our fabulous team.
If you'd like to find out more, head to themoneycollective.com.au or our socials to take action and engage our services. In our Facebook group, join the conversation and help us break down the taboo around money.
All content in this podcast is for educational purposes only and is general in nature. For tailored personal advice, please seek out a professional.